Hey, everyone! Welcome to the second episode today of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels, and I told you all I'd be back today. We are going back to where we were yesterday, where we left off on the FDA Executive Summary for April the 24th, 2014. This is for the FDA hearings in regards to the banning of the GED device used at the Judge Rotenberg Center on the students. So, we finished off with communication yesterday, and we are moving on to 4.3. Before we get into it, trigger warning, the things that we are discussing are going to be disturbing. If you have young children, I would suggest that you either put in a pair of headphones, just something so they're not going to be singing it. Okay? All right, good. Just wanted to make sure to cover all our bases. Now, 4.3, Assessment of Self-Injurious Behavior, SIB is the acronym, and aggressive behavior in individuals with developmental disabilities. Okay. The following sections provide an overview of how SIB and aggression are assessed in individuals with developmental disabilities. Now remember, folks, some of these terms I'm going to butcher horribly, so please forgive me. I do not have an edit button. I am very technologically challenged. I can't talk today. Okay. 4.3.1 Functional Analysis. Given that the foremost approach for treating SIB and aggressive behavior in individuals with limited intellectual and or developmental disabilities is behaviorally based, a method known as function analysis has emerged as an effective technique for identifying unwanted or undesirable behaviors. Functional assessments allow for identification of the relationships between SIB, irrelevant anecdotes, and consequences on the individual basis. Iwata, Dorsey, Silver, Bauman, and Richmond, 1982-1994. Iwata et al., 1994. Harding et al., 2001. Functional analysis is conducted in order to obtain a detailed description of a person's self-injurious behavior and determine possible relationships between behavior and the individual's physical and social environment. Wacker, Northrop, and Lambert, 1997. Information obtained from a functional analysis typically includes identifying the individuals who are present during the occurrence of the SIB and aggressive behavior, charting events that happened before, during, and after behavior, timing of the behavior, and location of the behavior. Prior to data collection, it is important to define the behavior of interest. The focus of the functional analysis should be on a specific behavior, like risk spreading, rather than a behavior category such as self-injury. So basically, they want to narrow it down. What are we talking about exactly? Combining several types of self-injury into one general behavior may make it difficult to determine different reasons for each behavior. For example, if a child engages in wrist biting and excessive self-scratching, there may be a different reason for each behavior. Edelson, Taubman, and Lovis, 1983. Obviously. Wrist biting may be a reaction to frustration, whereas excessive scratching may be a means of self-stimulation, or it may be they're actually itchy. For the love of God, sometimes we just itch our arms because it itches, okay? God. It's not that deep, folks. We are normal humans. Moving on. During data collection, salient characteristics of self-injurious behavior are recorded, such as frequency, duration, and severity. In addition, data collection should also include information about the person's physical and social environment. Specifically, information regarding the physical environment should include the setting: classroom, cafeteria, playground, lighting, natural light, fluorescent, incandescent, and sounds, lawnmower, another child screaming. The names or codes of everyone in this person's environment should also be recorded, such as teachers, parents, staff, visitors, and students and clients. Other factors to be recorded include the time of day and the day of the week when the behaviors occur. So basically, what this is going over here is basically what they call a functional analysis. identifying individuals that are around during these types of behaviors, charting what happened right before the behaviors started to occurring, about around what was the timing that the behavior started to happen, and where were they when it started to happen. I also interjected when I mentioned the scratching. Sometimes, folks, it's really not that deep. Autistics get itches, they get bit by mosquitoes. Sometimes we scratch because we're itchy. It's not always that deep. Okay? Just wanted to add that. All right. Now, 4.3.2 Descriptive Analysis. Descriptive analysis refers to observation of target behaviors, SIB or aggression, in the natural environment. The direct observation of target behaviors, their anecdotes, and their consequences is a hallmark of functional assessment. Gresham et al., 2001. The descriptive analysis of aggression, SIB, and maladaptive behaviors can include any methods of collection and presentation, such as frequency counts, partial interval recording, Pace et al. 1986, and scatterplot analysis, Tourette et al. 1985. Another commonly used form of descriptive analysis is antecedent behavior consequence, ABC observations. ABC observation serves this purpose by collecting data regarding the frequency of the target behavior and information about the behavior's antecedents and consequences. Parents, teachers, and residential staff can conduct these observations using the simple ABC checklists. Once this information is collected, an examiner is able to determine how many times a target behavior was preceded by a specific antecedent, an instructional demand, or followed by a specific consequence, access to a preferred item. Again, they seem to think we're selfish. For the love of God. These behaviors are not being utilized in order for us to get our way. For the love of God. Help me. This is why we need more autistic researchers. Moving on. These results are summarized as probabilities or percentages of behavior occurring during certain antecedents and consequence conditions. No wonder, I'm going to say it, but no wonder the most recent research I've seen out in regards to autism has been such complete shit. God, get more autism researchers. Manifesting more autistic researchers right now. Let's get them in every field. God. Moving on, behavioral rating scales. Several rating scales have been developed for functional assessment of SIB and other maladaptive behaviors in individuals who have developmental disabilities. Two of the rating scales that have been thoroughly studied are the Motivation Assessment Scale, MAS, and Durand and Cummings, 1992, and the Questions About Behavior Functions, QABF, Mattson and Vollmer, 1995. Typically, these scales are completed by the patient's primary caregiver, and in some instances by teachers and other school personnel, school psychologists, counselors. Scales have also been developed specifically for children under the age of 3 years. Scales with proven psychometric properties include Baby and Infant Screen for Children with Autism Traits, Part 3, Biscuit 3, Mattson et al., 2009. Excuse me one moment, I'm sorry. It's something stuck in my teeth. It was driving me nuts. Parental Concerns Questionnaire, PCQ, Mayo, Ortega et al. 2012. Aberrant Behavior Checklist, ABC, Amon and Singh, 1986. Amon, Singh and Stewart and Field, 1985. Behavior Problems Inventory. Repetitive Behavior Scale Revised. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all of that. All right. So that kind of goes off into the major loop. So basically what trying to go off of here is it's these assessments, right? They're trying to gather data, trying to figure out what it is that's causing these behaviors, right? And they're going off this research. But because these researchers are not themselves autistic and they're going off data that they are gathering from the parents, who, more often than not, are also themselves not autistic, as usual, they have no idea what they're talking about when they talk about causes of these behaviors. This idea of self stimulation when someone who's autistic just might be being itchy. Maybe they have a rash. Does nobody consider the fact that the reason why they might be digging into their skin is there might be a rash that nobody's been checking on? Because once again, people can't seem to figure out that behavior is communication and just automatically assumes that we're supposed to speak to them as they speak to us. Just saying. This is why we need more autistics in research. But basically, this does go into at least what we're looking at here, as opposed to what we see from places like the Judge Rotenberg Center. They are taking in as a factor that event right before things happen, the environment that they happen in, the timing of the event itself. At least we're getting some of that. That's actually good data. But when they start trying to figure out their own reasons as to why these behaviors are occurring and they base it off their own logic, they immediately start failing at their task. I'm just saying. Their mind doesn't work like our minds. So, just saying. Instead of researchers, hear me. Instead of using the parent, the neurotypical parent, as the person you go to obtain this data, start going to autistic adults. Okay? We good? Good. Can't believe I have to even say that, but apparently we're not as far along in 2021 as everybody likes to say we are. But anyways, that pretty much clears it for what I was wanting to go over today in the regards to the FDA summary. As I said, this is a 126-page document, and the only way we're going to be able to digest it all is if we go through it small piece by very small piece at a time. And also, to close out, folks, I'm actually not going to include an additional video today. It is Memorial Day weekend, and I still got probably one more video to go before I can let you go for today. So we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up here, folks. Now, as always, we don't get that many views on this channel, folks, and the very few we do tend to get removed from time to time. So if you could, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this afternoon, and as always, folks, we here at Smelling Tea, if I don't see you in the next vid, hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.